Hey everybody, thank you first and foremost for taking the time to watch this video. If you are watching this, we know you are on your transformation process. I think this is an exciting time. We're excited to be a part of this with you guys. I thank you for taking that initiative. I think it's a pretty cool thing. And I really want you to be successful with whatever goals you have for yourself and any part that we can play in that. This video's purpose is to touch on a lot of key foundational pieces in regards to nutrition. Everybody's nutritional needs are going to be a little unique to the person, but there are some basic guidelines that hold true to everybody. And some of these you may already know, but some you may not, because I'm dealing with you guys, which is a huge variety of people. And so some of you are further along or in different places than one another. So here we go. We're going to get into some just key things when it comes to food, nutritionally. Think of it as an underlying rule. If you would just eat foods that are the way God made them and not made by man, you're going to be better off. And I'll break this down a little bit for you, but as a general rule, when you're shopping for foods and you're eating foods, the more often you can eat the food the way it was grown, the way it was made, the way it shows up in nature, and less tinkered with by human hands, less artificial, fewer preservatives, then you're going to be better off. Okay, so just as an underlying rule, you need to know that. And that brings us into the one main point being that you need to get back to reading labels. It used to be a very popular thing in the past. People are starting to get away from it. At least that's what I see. We need to get back to it. You have to read the label if you're to know if the ingredients are actually real ingredients or if they are fake, if they are man-made, if they are artificial. You're not going to know that. An example is peanut butter. If you go and you buy peanut butter at the store, you'll find like the natural crunchy peanut butter and you look at the ingredients and it'll literally just say peanuts. But if you look at some other brands, other types of peanut butter, you can look on there and it will have peanuts in there, but it'll also have all kinds of additives, preservatives, sugars, all kinds of other things added into it. You don't want that. That's not as good of a choice. Choose, by reading the label, you can choose a better product of the same type of food that you are after. So we've just got to get back to reading labels. Excuse me. It's the only way you're going to know how many additives, preservatives that they've chunked in there. And one of the major additives is sugar. You have to get back to reading labels because we need to be decreasing our sugar intake. Sugars are everywhere. If they show up in the food in its natural state, we're okay. It's not that we have to not consume any sugar at all, but if a food has added sugars to it, it's going to be a problem because it's going to overload our bodies with sugar and it's going to drag us down via inflammation. So, for example, if you eat a banana, okay, it has fructose in it. That is a sugar. And that's a very sweet fruit. It has high fructose content for fruits. So a banana does have sugar in it. But if you compare the amount of fructose in, say, a banana compared to a can of Coca-Cola, it's just not even close. So too much fructose, of course, you overload it with high doses of that via like Coke, sodas, added things. That junk food with a ton of added sugar, it's really hard on the liver. It feeds into diabetes, all kinds of heart conditions. So get back to reading labels. Decreasing your sugar influx. We've got to start trimming down more of that added sugars to the system. Another is limiting your processed grains and sugars. Okay, the more processed it is, the worse it is on the body. So we've got to get back to the whole carbs, your vegetables, your fruits, your whole grains, your brown rice and your oats. That's where we want to consume the carbs from, those more natural sources. Another under that processed grains and sugars is looking at our protein sources. please start decreasing the amount of commercial fast food protein sources. They're just not going to be good for us. A lot of it's fried. A lot of it is just jacked with all kinds of drugs and hormones and all kinds of stuff, trying to produce a commercial product for high yield and cheap overhead, but the end result is a protein source is not as good for us. Animal proteins are an important thing to look at. When, eating fish and chicken and beef and like animal proteins, that's a good thing. But the more organic we can consume those, the better off we're going to be. Animals absorb a lot of toxic substances a lot easier than a plant. So when we eat really crappy protein sources like we see in a lot of commercial settings, a lot of fast foods, fried foods, things of that nature, they are going to be the most toxic laden sources of our protein that we can find. So getting away from that more and more and more is going to be setting you on a better trend with this transformation process. We also have to be getting rid of our trans fat sources with our oils. Oils are a big thing. We want to get away from the vegetable oils and the nut oils and the seed oils, and you want to be heading and replacing those with olive oils, avocado oils, coconut oil. These are better oils for the body. A lot lower in the trans fats, a lot lower in the omega-6s. These are the bad oils. Butter is also another good thing to be cooking with. So if you're cooking with vegetable oils or trans fat oils that are derived from seeds and nuts, get rid of them. Don't even finish them out. Just go ahead and throw it away. You'll be better off. And start replacing your cupboards for cooking with olive oils, coconut oils, avocado oil, and real actual butter. So that's another big step to move you in the right direction. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is just having that mindset of shop, right? Shop, cook, prepare. Well, think of it this way. We have to shop for the food and buy it correctly, reading your labels and doing all that stuff. We got to cook our foods well, so eating them more raw and fresh. But then if we're going to cook them using real butters and the oils that we just spoke about, then we have to make sure that we've planned that out. Have a plan for how you're going to eat and be prepared for trips. Eating at home, taking your supplements at home that you need, that's easy to do because they're right there in your house. But when you travel, which is becoming more and more popular in society these days, we have to plan ahead a little bit. Take some snack foods with you. Go shopping when you get to where you're going. Not just eat restaurant food all of the time. Choosing the appropriate dish at the restaurant, right? Going to a restaurant that's going to be able to provide you with a better food. These are choices. These are options that we all have to make. Let's make the right ones so that our transformation can be successful. And if we're taking any nutrients or supplements, making sure we're planning ahead to take enough of those with us on our trips that our bodies can continuously get fed appropriately. So when it comes to any supplements or nutritional additives or supplements that you're taking, what you're taking does matter. Just pay attention to that. That's a big topic. We're not going to get too deep onto that in this video, but you can certainly ask at any one of your appointments and we'll break that down. The products that we utilize here in the clinic, it's actually, we've weaned a lot of people out of the running. We're not going to provide you guys with anything that we don't ourselves want to be taking or trust. So there's a lot of companies that have tried to find their way into my clinic. They're just not going to get there if their product is of no good. So what source they're deriving the nutrition from is a big deal. Like folic acid for B9 is very common. That's toxic. You're not going to want that. That's why we use folates in the Edison packs. Cyanocobalamin, another very common source for B12 because it's cheap and readily available, but that's actually derived from cyanide. You don't want that. There's better sources for B12, which is why we have that in the Edison pack and we pay attention to all that. It just goes on and on, but your supplements are important. to fine tune that, it's an individual basis. Let's have that one-on-one conversation for that. But the overall nutritional guidelines and how you're eating that we touched on previously, they're huge, they're important. If you need to watch this video a couple of times just to be able to jot them all down, go ahead and do so. But to start making that shift, like we've talked about, in how we're reading labels, how we're shopping, what we're consuming, where that food source is coming from, if we can make some more and more of those changes, you're going to be better off. It can be a bit expensive to eat more organically when it comes to like the animal proteins. I get that. I understand it. And so if we can't do all of these changes all at once, I get it. But if you can get some of them done, if you can start to shift how you're eating and what you're eating a little bit, and all the time moving it in the correct direction, it's going to be a win for the long run. Because this transformation is not about us doing a sprint for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. This is a marathon. This is a for life transformation. And for that to be successful, we have to learn new habits and make them a habit. We're here for you. I'm so glad that you're on this journey and that we get to be on that journey with you. I'm so excited to continue this. And so we'll be in touch soon. Have a blessed day.